Have you ever felt like selling is just about, well, being the most charming person in the room? Or maybe that hearing the word no is like the ultimate failure. If that sounds familiar, get ready because we're about to challenge those ideas pretty fundamentally today. Great selling, it turns out, isn't really about some magic talent or just smooth talking. It's actually this meticulous, almost scientific mix of really understanding people, communicating strategically, and get this, maybe even having a welcoming attitude towards hearing no.
Hmm.
So today we're doing a deep dive into what makes selling and pitching truly effective. And our source material is really interesting, Management English 6 Selling and Pitching. It's not just about sales in the traditional sense, it's digging into influence and persuasion in, well, pretty much any situation.
Exactly. And our goal here really is to equip you with some powerful insights, some practical techniques. It's not just about, making a sale. It's about building real trust, handling resistance effectively, forging those lasting connections.
Mm.
And like you said, it isn't just for people with sales in their job title. These are, frankly, invaluable skills for anyone looking to convey value, get buy-in for an idea, influence outcomes. Think pitching an idea to your team, negotiating something important, even just getting support for a personal project. The principles, they apply everywhere.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Starting with pitch preparation seems right because a great pitch isn't just, improvised on the spot. It's planned meticulously. And what really jumps out from the source is this absolute, almost obsessive focus on understanding the customer before you even think about your own product. It's foundational, isn't it?
Absolutely. Before you even sketch out a slide or think about your opening line, the key questions are, what does this customer really care about?
Mm.
What are their actual problems? Their unmet needs?
Yeah.
What are the desires driving their decisions? And this isn't just a quick search online. It really demands thorough, dedicated research. You need to understand their business, their industry, who they're competing against, even their company culture. Knowing their world is step one.
One point that really struck me, it sounds simple, but it's actually quite profound, is this power of three rule. The idea that most people really can't effectively hold on to more than three core things at once in their working memory. So an impactful presentation should boil everything down. No more than three key ideas. And if you're using slides, same principle, maybe three specific bits of info per slide, max. It's all about clarity, making it stick.
Yeah, and it's not just about making things simpler. It's leveraging how our brains actually work. A bit of a neurological hack. Our working memory is designed for small chunks. Push past three and recall just drops off, even with smart people. So that power of three, it's less a suggestion, more a cognitive strategy, really, to make sure your message lands. And how you grab attention, how you structure things right from the start, that's vital too. The source says start with the why.
Hmm.
Articulate the purpose behind the pitch before you get into the nuts and bolts, the how. Establish that connection first.
Okay, that leads us nicely into some really fascinating pitching strategies. One that just grabbed me immediately was fixing a conflict of perceptions. It's such a clever, almost psychological technique. You start with something undeniably true and positive, then you introduce an opposing truth, something negative, and then boom, your solution brings it all back to the positive.
It's designed brilliantly, actually. It creates this little bit of cognitive dissonance in the listener. Makes them want to get back to that initial good feeling. Think about that chocolate cookie example they give. Truth A, chocolate cookies are a simple pleasure. Great, we all like that. Then truth B, but they're often full of unnecessary calories.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, problem introduced, conflict, and then the solution. Charlie's cookies taste wonderful, plus they're low fat and low calorie. It makes the problem real and positions your product as the perfect resolution. It's very compelling.
Right. And another one that feels really counterintuitive, I think, for a lot of salespeople is delay the pitching.
Hmm.
We often feel this pressure to just jump right in, get the message out. But the source suggests maybe starting with some market talk, some soft questioning, letting the conversation breathe a bit, and only pitching when the customer actually signals they're ready. And crucially, you have to actually listen to what they say and weave it into your pitch. It's not just waiting for your turn, is it?
Not at all.
Hmm.
That's the difference between what they call a solution pitch and just, well, telling. Great salespeople understand how their product solves a specific problem for the customer or creates a positive impact. They don't just list features. It shifts the whole thing from you talking at them to a collaborative conversation focused on their needs. If you rush, you miss that chance to tailor it. This way builds rapport, makes sure the pitch actually resonates.
Yeah, the example they give with Charlie's Cookie Milk is perfect for that. Instead of just saying, Charlie's Cookie Milk comes in many flavors, which is just a feature, The solution pitch is more like, we help our customers have a wonderful start to the day with a drink that feels like a treat but fits into a healthy diet. See, it completely shifts focus. Product attributes versus personal benefit. It's much more powerful.
And if you want to create a bit of intrigue, right from the get-go, there's the peak technique. Basically, asking an unexpected question or making a slightly odd request, something to make the customer curious, lean in a bit. Like saying, would you possibly be able to visit our factory on June 5th at 3:30 p.m.? It's so specific they can't help but wonder, why 3:3 on June 5th? It disrupts their pattern, grabs their attention.
Oh, that's clever. And related to that, I think, is helping the customer paint a picture. Making it personal, experiential. Instead of just telling them what success looks like, you invite them to visualize it themselves. Asking something like, how does it feel when you see a customer in your local shop buying that new product you helped bring in? It taps right into their own experiences, their own goals, their emotions, makes the potential outcome feel much more real, more desirable. It's about their motivation, not just logic.
And underpinning all of this, really, is the importance of showing an investment of time. Customers really, really appreciate it when you've clearly done your homework. Maybe you've read their latest quarterly report, or you've actually studied their code of conduct, or maybe you even went to one of their stores to see how things work on the ground. That kind of effort, it builds massive credibility, huge trust. Before you even formally start the pitch, it shows you're invested in them, not just the sale.
Okay, so you've done the prep, delivered a great pitch, built some connection, but then inevitably, objections come up, and the source is really clear on this. Objections, hesitations, they're not just normal, you have to expect them. It's all about having the right mindset, isn't it?
Absolutely. The best salespeople.
Yep.
They never take objections personally. It's not about their ego. They prioritize the relationship and ultimately getting the sale over their own feelings. Which raises a really important question for you, the listener, to think about. How do you actually shift your mindset to welcome objections? To see them as chances to understand better, not just as roadblocks? That's a big mental shift for many.
Yeah, it really is. And the key tool seems to be active listening, which means listening to actually understand, not just waiting to jump in with your reply. The advice is, don't interrupt. Give them space. Let them fully voice their concern. And then this is critical. Repeat back what you heard just to make sure you got it right. It builds trust like nothing else. Makes them feel genuinely heard.
And that leads straight into this really effective framework they mentioned, the LER bonding process. Listen, acknowledge, explore, and then respond. So many people, in their rush to fix things, they skip that acknowledge step. But it's absolutely vital. It's how you show empathy, show you truly grasp their point of view. Even if you don't agree, acknowledging the concern is key. Saying something like, okay, I understand why that would be a concern for you. Or, I wasn't aware of that specific issue. Thanks for raising it. That shows you're on their side. Skipping acknowledge, that's often where trust starts to break down.
Right. Because without validating their concern first, why would they listen to your solution? Okay, but what about when you actually do have to disagree? You can't always just agree. The source has some neat ways to disagree agreeably. It's not about conceding, but about showing you understand their point while still making yours effectively, without being confrontational.
Exactly. So, for instance, you might say something like, I absolutely see what you're saying about the cookie range you currently stock, Bob. That makes sense. So, validation first. However, I genuinely believe Charlie's Cookies can bring something unique here. Driving additional sales by reaching customers your current range might not. You acknowledge their reality before offering your different, hopefully beneficial perspective. It keeps the relationship intact.
That's smooth. And sometimes, look, you just can't do what they ask. You have to say no. And the source gives some brilliant ways to say no without actually using the word no, which can be really important, especially across different cultures where a direct no might be, well, awkward or even rude.
Yeah, a flat no can just shut down the conversation. Instead, if they ask for, say, an earlier delivery you can't manage, you might respond, sorry, I'm unable to bring that forward. The order's actually already in transit as we planned, and unfortunately, there's nothing I can do at this point to speed up shipping and customs. It's clear, it's justified, it explains the constraint. It's not just a blunt refusal, often keeps the door open for other things too.
Okay, moving towards the end game now. This is where apparently many salespeople stumble. The close. The source is pretty blunt about it. Closing is often the hardest part. Why? Usually a fear of rejection. It's like getting right to the finish line and just freezing.
It's fascinating because the emphasis isn't just on doing the close, but on planning it. right from the very start of the whole process. The really good salespeople, they actually prepare, assuming they'll get an initial no to their closing attempt, and then they plan how they'll navigate from that no towards a yes.
Yeah.
It's about having resilience, having a plan B, C, and D, not just hoping for the best. That fear of rejection is real, so you need a strategy for it.
Right. So let's look at some specific closing techniques. First up, maybe the most obvious but often missed, the ask. Sounds simple, right? Just ask for the sale. But apparently lots of people delay, they hesitate, maybe hoping the customer will just volunteer. The advice here is ask earlier than you might feel comfortable and be ready for that initial no. Something like, okay, Mark, it really looks like we satisfy all the criteria you laid out for becoming a supplier. Are you ready to place an order? And if they say, well, not quite yet, your immediate follow-up is crucial. Okay, understood. What specifically do I need to do, or what information do you need for us to proceed? It forces any lingering issues out into the open.
That's key. Then there's the one everyone knows, maybe by different names, the Columbo close, sometimes called the Steve Jobs trick. Huh. Just when the customer thinks the meeting is over, you're packing up. You pause, turn back. Ooh, just one more thing. And then you drop some killer piece of info they didn't have, a great feature, a special offer, a really relevant success story. Imagine.
Oh, just one more thing. I get the sense you might be assuming this product is high in calories and fat, like most treats. Actually, it's not. Because of our unique formula, it has half the calories and fat of standard milk. Boom! It rehooks their interest right at the end.
Yeah, classic. Another intriguing one is the doorknob close, also known as the lost sale close. This is when the customer has definitely said no, refused to buy, and you're literally on your way out. Maybe your hand is even on the doorknob. You turn back and ask, essentially, for the real reason they didn't order. Take some guts, that one. It really does. It's kind of a last-ditch effort to get complete honesty, especially if you felt the reasons they gave earlier weren't the whole story. You might say something like, Ann, look, before I go, could I ask for a bit of help? I'm fairly new to working with your account, and honestly, I'm surprised by the decision. I'd really appreciate some guidance. What was the real reason you decided not to order today? Often, that vulnerability gets you the true objection, the one they were maybe hesitant to share earlier. And that gives you one last unexpected chance to maybe address it, maybe even turn things around. It's a bold move, but hey, what have you got to lose at that point?
Right. Nothing to lose. And then there's the puppy dog close, which is just such a great name, instantly visual. The idea is simple. Let the customer try the product or service out. Like taking a puppy home for the weekend. You get attached, you don't want to give it back. The example was, look, if you want to get more opinions on the cookie milk, I actually have 25 cartons in my car. Happy to just leave them with you, let your team try it, get some feedback.
Exactly. It lets them experience the benefits directly, firsthand. Often they realize, wow, this actually solves that problem, or my team loves this. It lowers the perceived risk dramatically. And finally, there's the summary close. This one's about bringing it all together, providing real clarity. The salesperson concisely recaps maybe the top 3 to 5 benefits that matter most to that specific customer, focusing on problem solved, value delivered, just reinforcing the whole proposition clearly, something like. So just to summarize, Bennett's has clearly satisfied all the supplier requirements we discussed. We've shown how we can address challenges X, Y, and Z, and our unique formula directly tackles your concerns about calorie count. Given all that, can we move forward and start the new supplier contract today? Leaves no doubt about the value.
Wow. Okay, what a deep dive that was. From really meticulous pitch prep, that power of 3, understanding the customer deeply through all those engaging strategies like fixing a conflict or delaying the pitch, then handling objections with grace, using things like LAER, disagreeing agreeably, and finally mastering the close with techniques like the ask or that clever Columbo close. It is just crystal clear that effective selling is so much more nuanced, way more strategic, and frankly more empathetic than just, talking about how great your product is. It's really about being a problem solver, a trusted partner, and a sharp observer of people.
Absolutely. And if you zoom out, connect this to the bigger picture. These aren't just sales tactics in some narrow box. These are fundamental communication and influence strategies. They apply almost everywhere, in business and in life. Trying to get your team excited about a new idea, negotiating something for yourself, just trying to build stronger relationships. Understanding these principles, how to prepare, engage, handle resistance, close effectively, it's invaluable. It's really the foundation of effective human interaction, isn't it?
It really is. So thinking about all this, what does it mean for you, our listener, as you go about your day?
Well, it raises an interesting question, perhaps something for you to reflect on. Considering everything we've explored today, from deep customer understanding and the psychology of influence, right through to mastering that final close,
Yeah.
what single approach, what single insight do you think would make the biggest immediate difference in your next important conversation or interaction? And maybe why that one specifically?
Definitely something to think about. Keep those insights flowing, everyone, and we will catch you on the next deep dive.